Hey, how you doing tonight? What can I get started for you?
Yeah, I'm doing good tonight. Another busy day at the ballpark. Now I need something really, really good. You got something really good for me there?
Of course I do. I have exactly what you need. Jack and Cano coming right up.
Well, hello, guys. We've made it to episode number six, and episode number six is going to be no different than the other ones, Jack, because we are going to have a very, very nice show today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. How you doing today?
Pretty good, man. Not too bad. Summer's coming up. SGAs, they're in full swing. Everything is getting back to normal, almost like nothing ever happened. Everything is back, and yeah, it's gonna be great.
I figured there's a little pep in your step because I see when I look at the standings for all of MLB, I see there's a little team called the Giants towards the top, which makes no sense to me. But they are
Yep.
back up at the top. So, I like the Giants, but it is, I bet you're excited to see that.
It's nice to see a couple of things here, Jack. One, it's nice to see the team getting kind of like back to the winning ways with some of the players that were there at the very beginning, the Buster Posies, the Crawfords, the Brandon Belts, and stuff like that. It's nice to see them still having some success in their fourth quarter of their careers.
Yep.
But it's also nice to see how all those fans that were talking shit about Gabe Kapler and oh, we don't like him, and oh, he came from a Dodger product, and the general manager came from the Dodgers, yada yada yada. All those couch managers that know better than anybody else. Now they're swallowing their words because Gabe Kapler's got a pretty good team going over here.
Yeah,
So we'll see how everything ends up. Because there's a lot of sleeping giants out there still.
that's
A
right.
lot of sleeping giants, and we're going to talk to someone who represents one of those sleeping giants. I believe that they're going to be dangerous later on in the year. Let's recap them on what we had last show on.
Yep. So last show we had the Skull King, Dan Montez out of Colorado. He started collecting skulls and came up with a pretty unbelievable collection. He had a very interesting story about how he came to the U.S. and just an amazing person. We were real happy to learn all about his collection and why he had a passion for skulls. And he's got to be probably one of the only people that has three complete sets of skulls.
I think a lot of people are trying to get their second one, and he's working on his a fourth complete set, which is pretty nice. We go from Colorado to the state of Texas, and on the show today, we're going to have a very close friend of mine, someone that I call a friend, someone that I've spoken to a number of times, Juan Manuel Mendez. Welcome to Jack and Cano. Thank you for coming on, man.
Thanks, guys, for having me on. Appreciate it.
So out there in Houston, big collecting city out there. Now, I don't want to sound like I know what's going on in Houston because I don't. I just know the things that I see on the pages here and there. Let everybody know out there how it became what it is now, which is it's a huge number of collectors out there, and they're all very, very serious about the sets and about everything that they have. Where did it all start? Tell me the beginnings of those times.
Well, I believe everybody was thinks it's very family oriented. You go to the game with your kids and start collecting baubles, and it's something that brings your family together. Number one, and it's a hobby. It's a hobby that you get to go enjoy the game. You get to get an SGA. You get to perhaps sell it if you have an extra one for those who couldn't make the game. The bobble game is pretty big down here in Texas, man. Houston is just kind of set a standard on a lot of these grails that have popped up. Hard to find. The less they made of them, of course, the more of a grail it is. Met a lot of nice people, and over the years of collecting, and man, you just make friends that are going to be lifelong friends.
How did you get started?
Yeah, it was probably about 5 years ago when my son started playing ball, 8U ball, at the park, and wanted to start taking him to games. And then we started realizing there was, bobblehead giveaways. Because even before then, I mean, I knew about it, but I never really got into collecting. But my kid enjoyed it, got to go to the games, see some games, and, get some SGAs. And like I said, I think that's where it started. Probably my first biggest one was the Orbit 1 Kenobi that season ticket holder to me. He was looking to get rid of it, and at that time, I didn't even know it was what it was. he asked me if I had an Evan Gaddis autographed baseball that I would trade for. I said, sure, and that was kind of really my first one that I really picked up, and I didn't realize the significance and the importance that it was, in the bobblehead game.
Did you collect memorabilia prior to the bobbleheads? Is that because I see you're sitting in your man cave, which is pretty impressive. I love the colors there. You got all the memorabilia on the walls. Looks awesome.
Actually, no, dude. It was then with my son being about 8 years old that I mean, I probably have over 100 autographed balls now, and
Nice.
just you know how players do it. They go to the kids before they go to the adults, and I do have some of the maybe not guess you could say plastic balls that in the beginning I didn't even realize that it was supposed to have a good ball and get it on the sweet spot, but we learned as we went. And but yeah, I mean, all them other balls I saved as memories, from when we started. But well, got a decent collection for the few years that I've been in it.
And I know that the players down there in Houston, they sign pretty often.
Oh yeah, I mean, pre-COVID, Altuve and Correa and Bregman, they you stood around the first base side by the Astros dugout, and they came out every game and signed for the kids. I mean, they never hesitated, and that was just awesome. For when my kid, I mean, I got the memory. It was 5 years ago today that he got his first Altuve autograph on
Nice.
a ball, and it was the practice ball, pre-game ball, practice ball. But it was still. I mean, we still have it. Have it in the cube. It's just like good memories for he and I. I mean, we come in my man cave and we reminisce about a lot of the autographs he's gotten for me. Of course, I tell him it's all his at the end. When I go, but we got a nice little collection.
Does he have a favorite?
Not really. He became a Yuli fan, Yuli Gurriel fan. He put on the hair, sunglasses, and the chain, and he had a Houston Astros chain around his neck. And man, he got some attention at the ballpark. Man, he really did. He got to go on the field a couple of times with the players. Took pictures with them. MLB actually did a small article on him. When he was out there one game.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Printed it, laminated it.
Nice.
Something that man. I mean, I got on the field and I had people blowing up my phone. Is that your kid? And I'm like, yeah, man. They're like, how'd that happen? I'm like, dude, Altuve called him over, and that was it, man. The rest is history, man. And pretty lucky, man. He's I guess got had a little charm on him, a little smile on him, and they just waved him over. And like I said, he's done that a couple of times. This was all pre-COVID, of course, but yeah, I mean, good times, man. Good memories.
Jack, that's all it takes sometimes. Just have a ball player come over, sign a ball, say hello. You can't forget that memory. So thank you for sharing that. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't know that.
It's been an awesome experience. We both missed it. My family, my wife and my son, we haven't been to a game yet because of the COVID. Actually, the rumor on the internet today was May 25th. They're going to open it up 100% down here. So we'll have to wait and see if there's any truth to that rumor. But yeah, we're kind of itching to go, but we're still trying to take precautions and wear the mask. And we've seen and heard a lot of people are not wearing them. So it's a tough call.
Yep.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I know you have season tickets. They're in the front row, right?
Yes, sir. We're out in the bullpen section, the outfield section, kind of home run alley. But yes, it is. It's front row, and
okay,
it's an awesome experience out there, man. Especially since the beginning of the season, they've had the roof open quite a bit, and the different atmosphere when the roof's open. Especially down here in Houston where it's hot, usually hot and humid. So through the summer months, it's always closed.
And that's what I was going to say with front row tickets. Anywhere with front row, man, you're going to miss it a little bit more, a little extra. So I'm sure that at some point you'll be going through the turnstiles again, and hey, maybe catching the home run balls again.
Oh yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's just we're just kind of letting it, I guess take its course, and hopefully that like I said, pretty soon, maybe this month, or we got the Dodgers coming to town, the Padres and the Red Sox. So kind of itching to see games. Yeah.
The first
Man,
place
that's
Red Sox, right, Jack?
yeah. We were talking about that. I'm like, I sit here as a Rays fan. We're worried about the Yankees, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, comes the Red Sox. What the hell? I thought they were done for years and years to come, and all of a sudden they're back at the top again. Makes me sick.
Now, Manuel, there's one thing I was gonna ask you too. We saw that George Springer
Yes, sir.
came back to Houston. He didn't play. He's not coming back for the rest of the year, right? The Blue Jays only come to Houston once a year. Is he going to come back at
Correct.
some point, or are you guys going to have to wait till next year again?
Correct. Yeah, they won't be back. The Blue Jays won't be back this season. Yeah, but they did do a montage video before the game. It was about 3 or 4 minutes long, and city still loves him, man. Welcome with open arms.
What does he mean to that city? Because I know that it was very tough seeing him go, and like you just mentioned, they still can't let him go. But what is it about him? And every city will have that one player. And I know that Longoria, Jack, was possibly that player down there in Tampa. What is it about Springer that brings that city together?
Well, the fact that they drafted him, coming out of college, he played his whole career here. You know what I mean? So it's from 2014, till last year. I mean, he was the heart of Houston and one of the key players. Had to smile, and ladies loved him. Also had a speech issue growing up, and he did a lot of charity work here for kids that had speech problems, and raised a lot of money for the city. So again, your everyday right fielder for last was that 7-8 years. So yeah, I mean, a lot of times, a lot of the people saw him coming through the minor leagues, and to be a superstar, World Series MVP. I mean, it meant a lot. I mean, he still does, and like I said, city still loves him.
It's similar to what we went through here with Tampa. And I mean, Tampa's just, really we got on the map when we went to the World Series that one year, and Longoria was on the team, and like you said, he'd been here his whole career, and he was involved in the community. He was involved with Moffitt Cancer Center, and he was putting teams together and raising money, and just like you said, is the heart of Tampa really for our team, and the face of the franchise. And you got your third baseman there, you got the walk-off home run that sent us into the playoffs that year. I mean, just all the great moments that they create. And that it was a similar story. And then it's always sad to see a long time pillar of your team leave and go to one of your competitors. Yeah. So but you understand too, and like you said, he's Longoria is still loved here. He's got a restaurant here in Tampa. People still go there. It's he'll never be out of the minds of people here in Tampa.
Yeah, it's the business part of it that takes a month. It's the team and the next journey. But yeah, I mean, I guess Springer had his payday coming, and he got it.
Yep, can't blame him.
Nope, not at all.
George Springer also has probably the biggest grail. Do you think it's going to be the biggest grail ever, even though it's retail?
I would say yeah, because the fact that there's not a lot of them, and it's still sought after, and if one pops up, that Raz fills pretty quick, man. That's think the championship, bringing the championship to Houston, the championship bobble, World Series bobble. It's like I said, there's not many out there. I'm lucky to have 2 of them, and one customized by you. That's a grail. That'll always be a grail in my house.
And we'll get into that, because I've told Jack that story about how you wanted me to do that one, and a couple of times I asked you again, and I asked you again if you really wanted me to do that, because I would see the price on these Razes, and it was just crazy that I was going to customize one of those. But before we get into that, I want to talk about some of the grails that Houston had. Craig Biggio hit by pitch. Yeah. And also the Lance Berkman, the duel where he's batting from both sides of the plate. But I know there's a lot more. What are the ones that are out there? And let us know whether you have them, whether you don't. Hey, you never know. Someone may have someone out there for you.
Yeah, those two I don't have, and then of course the Orbit One Kenobi, which is the Houston Astros mascot Orbit, in the Star Wars day on that one. Um, some of the other bobbleheaders of the month are, I mean, they're pretty out there. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head. It was some of the early ones that there's not many of, so it's tough. But there's a lot, I guess. I guess everybody has their own what they call grails, but I think some of the ones you just touched on are the main ones. There's also I think it's the Altuve Jedi one.
The mini.
Mini, yeah.
And they also he's a mini. He's got a mini from Lexington, right?
Yes, yeah, that one too. Yeah, there's I mean, honestly, there's the hit by pitch and the Berkman. I mean, it's those are some that, like I said, I would like to have. I just hadn't, got lucky to win them, and kind of like when you were saying, on some of the stuff I get, I don't flip it. I just keep it. So I guess I'm not willing to part with some of the stuff. Don't want to pay out of pocket. Don't want to trade, something good for it. But I'm sure eventually I'll come around to it.
And then we move on to the bobbleheads of the month, which is they were numbered to about 150, 170, yeah. And no one knew when they were going to be released. There was just maybe like a Twitter announcement the night before, and then everyone, would scramble with their own way and their own method and their own theory of how to get extras or how to line up, because people would line up since the night before, the day before. Take us through all of that from your point of view as it was happening in your city.
Yeah, like you said, it was chaos. Somebody would leak a picture, a post. They were hiring the homeless to get in line. I think it took a couple of months before the Astros, after about 2 or 3 came out, I think that's when they started limiting the one per person. But yeah, like you said, it was tough to get one. If you couldn't get one at retail, you were jumping in the Razzes because the Razzes. I mean, they pop up after every home game and SGA and those bobbleheads of the month. Some of them are hard to come by, and you're lucky to get one. You honestly are. Like you said, it is chaos. You got to know somebody. You got to have a little connection. Your wife's got to get off of work early and swing by there. You got to go into work late, call in sick. But it's taking everybody to another level, because if you work nights and you're able to get off, at 7 o'clock in the morning, go wait in line, you're lucky, man. And if not, you got to know somebody.
And what I do wonder too, Jack, is if these employees were helping somebody out, because these bobbleheads are very valuable,
right?
And people like he was saying, they were hiring the homeless to get in line because they knew it was going to be worth it, and it's crazy.
That's like, it's like Black Friday, right? You got to be there to get your Xbox for $100 off, right? So you're going to camp out for 3 days. I mean, I never understood that, but for a bobblehead, that's pretty amazing.
During the season, when there was SGAs, I mean, you'd literally have to get to the game 4 hours, 5 hours early.
Wow.
And somebody would bring food, somebody would bring cooler with drinks. I mean, it was a party before the doors even opened, but we're talking, like I said, it was just ridiculous. And, if they gave out 10, 15,000, there were still people that didn't get them. But, you brought your family and your friends to come, and,
right.
there was the hustlers that would, get people to come stand in line, and they'd give them a ticket to the game, and they would in return give them the bobble back. But yeah, man, that down here it gets pretty crazy. And, you talk about it being limited, but with the COVID, it was, FOCO has now offered the bobbleheads of the month online. So that helps for the people that can't get down there, and you get to get it at cost, and that just started recently.
Yeah, because that's crazy. If you're nowhere near the stadium, yeah, you're asked out.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Astro fans around, outside of Houston that want to collect, and yeah, they're again, if they don't have somebody to get them one at retail, now they're able to get one. But even myself, I've purchased them online where, my connection wasn't available, and it's like, okay, I'll just get it online and be done with it. But yeah, it's pretty wild, just throughout the year, it's always been a party, waiting knowing that you're waiting in line 5 hours for a bobble is pretty wild, man. It really is. Got to get to the right spots where there's shade and make sure you're not going to be in the sun the whole time. Because down here in Texas, man, it's not fun, man. Not fun.
It's a little hot.
Very hot, man. It's hot and humid. Then of course it rains and you're not under the cover. So yeah, you're getting wet. But yeah, it's where you get to meet a lot of people too, man. You get to meet a lot of other collectors.
Yep.
Talk, man. Like I said, met a lot of people over the past 5-6 years that been going to games. But yeah, like I said, it's a strong bobble community down here. It really is.
And Jack, that community just came together too. And I don't know the details about it. And I'll give Manuel again the time here, the podium, so we can go ahead and tell us, giving more in detail again as to the big amount of money that they collected for a member or a family member down there, right?
Yeah. Recently, we had one of our bobble members pass away due to COVID. And collectively, with the groups that are here, Crush City bobbleheads, Houston Astros bobbleheads, and everything autographed are some of the bigger, the three big ones down here. We've all were able to raise almost $14,000 for the family.
Wow.
And give it to them, to help with ongoing family situations. However they use the money, going to a good cause. Don't want to get into detail and don't want to give names.
Yeah.
Those that know. But even in the past, we had an officer down here that got shot and killed, and we have law enforcement members in the bobble community. Same thing. Raised over $1,000 for his family. And we've actually done this, about 5 different times, and it's always been, $8,000 to $10,000, raised for the families, and it feels good. Feels good because you donate an item, you buy some spots in the Raz, and if you win, you win. If you don't, your money went to a good cause, and pretty awesome to know that in some cases you might not know the person or never met them, but they're part of the bobble family, and you gave from your heart, and it's going to a good cause. Nobody wants to have to deal with tragedy, and knowing that the bobble community came together, it's just awesome.
That's amazing. I mean, it's something that I noticed too when I got into bobbleheads and joined some of these groups, and that's a big thing that we do at the bar, is just raising money for people in need and for charity. And it is amazing how these groups, like you said, you meet people in these groups that you become friends with, and you maybe have never met them in person, never talked to them, you just see them on the page and make deals with them. And but it's amazing how when someone in the community is in need, they all come together, everyone chips in. And like you said, it's like it's you get into razzes, right, and you lose and you kind of sucks. But when you have a charity raz, it's like, if you lose, it's not a big deal, right? You get some joy out of the fact that you're helping somebody else out in their time of need. So yeah, that's awesome to hear. And
there's a bigger picture.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we had people donate, whether it was baubles or autographed memorabilia. One of our local framers here would frame your picture, your jersey. Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said, everybody coming together. And for those that didn't have maybe something to donate, they just wanted to do cash donations, and that was accepted. I will say one of the main people down here that has a heart bigger than Texas is Stacy Glaze, and she's very, very, like I said, a heart just as big as Texas, and always willing to help. And anytime somebody's in need, she's always kind of been the leader and the one out there to say, hey, we need to get together and help somebody out. Like I said, no questions asked. Everybody tries to give from their heart, and like I said, whether it's a cash donation or something, an item to donate, and it, sometimes there's some nice stuff out there. It could be, autographed baseballs and bats and pictures, and like I said, custom work. There's people that donate custom woodwork and stuff. So yeah, it's really nice to see everybody get together. Like you said, some cases you never met them. Sometimes we, talk shit to each other on Facebook, just, with some of the razzes, whether you win or, but yeah, it's all in good fun, it's all in good fun.
That's pretty cool. And then you brought up, the bats and then the other stuff that you have, the signed memorabilia. And one of the things that, down there that you guys have are these player weekend bats.
Yeah.
They're all over the place. Everyone's got to have at least one of these bats. How many of those player weekend bats do you have now?
I'm only lucky enough to have 3. Yeah. They're usually run between $500, $600, $700 a bat,
Wow.
of course, autograph. But yeah, I have a Bregman, I have an Altuve, and I have a Springer. So
Wow.
yeah.
Trio.
Yeah, there's a trio. I mean, they're out there. I mean, if you have deep pockets, you can just buy them outright, but a lot of times, you hope to get one in a Raz, for $10, $20. But yeah, there's some people that have they have 10 or 15 of them. So I'm not that lucky.
This is new to me. I mean, I've heard very little. I mean, I kind of know of them. I've heard things about them, but can you explain just a little bit about what these are, what these bats are, and
I guess once a year, the MLB has a Players Weekend where they have their nicknames on the back of the jersey. For that weekend, they also use custom bats. Whether it's designed, the Alex Bregman I have has the New Mexico flag logo on it. The Altuve one has the Venezuelan. It's decorated like a Venezuelan flag, and the George Springer one has blue with the rainbow Astro rainbow colors on the handle. So pretty nice, and that's what they use for the weekend. And of course, these are, I guess you could say, replicas of them, but autographed, not game used at all, but they're game model bats.
Gotcha.
So yeah, and then like every year there's a different one. So it seems like some people want every year model that they would use.
Right.
And yeah, like I said, that's what drove up the price. And Yuli Gurriel used a bat that had looked like a pineapple on the barrel, and that's a grail. I mean, if you're lucky to have one of those, I mean, it's hard to part with, man. And then I've lost so many Razzies, I probably could have bought it right. I mean, yeah, you hate to, keep track of your loss, because that's when you realize, I should have just paid $500 for it and been done with it.
Right.
But we're all trying to win it, for $10, $20, $40. But yeah, I haven't been that lucky, But yeah, I just have 3, so I'm kind of lucky to have the 3, And again,
Nice.
those are PCs, man. They're not going anywhere,
And they're the 3 big players, the core players. Yeah.
I mean, I've had offers for to buy them outright. People had the Correas and the Yuli Gurriels, and I just can't seem to part with $500-$600 for a bat.
Right.
That's just a lot of money, man. I don't care how you look at it.
So I know you had mentioned before we were talking before the show that your son obviously got you involved in the collecting, and you say that he comes in there to the man cave. You guys talk about some of the autographs, and it's a good bonding time with your kid. And he's a baseball player. What position does he play?
He's usually a pitcher, or first base, or shortstop, or third.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, we get in here and he'll see a ball and he'll say, "I remember getting that autograph." And we got a couple like batting practice home run balls that he's probably got about 75 baseballs in his room.
Wow.
And he actually, funny story is, he took one to baseball practice one day, and at that time his coach was an ex-MLB player. And man, he kind of ripped him one, saying, "Man, you don't understand how it's not easy to get one of these balls. This is brought back memories for him." And my son's like, "Well, coach, I got about 100 of them at home." And and the coach is like, "What?" He's like, "Well, yeah." I mean, every time we would go to the game, he'd come home with 2 or 3, sometimes 4. And like I said, they just accumulated. And yeah, I mean, we're again blessed to be able to be season ticket holders and get in early, and like I said, good times, man, good memories. But yeah, he's enjoyed getting autographs, when we would go to the stadium, man, because he knew I couldn't get them, and I would just say, "Hey, here's the ball, go get, McCullers, Lance McCullers, see if you can squeeze in there for Bregman. And, sure enough, he'd come back with a nice autographed ball. And I was like, wow, and of course, the dads there and the grown men that, I don't know if they're collectors or they're flippers, but, the hustle's out there. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, for the most cases, dude, I kept them on. And a lot of them do not have, COAs on them. They're not certed, but I know they're real,
Yeah,
we
for sure.
got them in person. So, and again, like I said, I'm not really trying to sell anything. So, it's not, I guess, not a necessity to have a cert on it,
Right. So, and then when he comes down there, you show him all the memorabilia and say, look, this is your inheritance, like.
I've told him that. I said, I always have to joke around and say if something happens, make sure you do your homework because, a lot of it is worth something. We were able to get Aaron Judge on a sweet spot and an all-star game ball when they weren't. Actually, Aaron Judge played a warm-up catch with him because, like I said, we're front row out there in the bullpen in right field. So he played catch with him one game, and it was like too nervous, too fumbling. My phone, I almost dropped it. I couldn't record it because he was right in front of me, but it was just, and Aaron Judge is a big kid, dude. I know people boo him, but man, he probably threw every warm-up ball to the crowd, and people were fighting and diving for it, and like I said, an awesome memory that I have with my son that it's just man, it gives you goosebumps, man, because it's like, there's so many kids that don't even get to go to a game. My kid's been on the field and, to the point where they knew him when he walked in. The employees knew who he was, just by the gear he used to wear and the get up, the costume, so to say. But they would give him high fives when he was walking in because they already said, okay, here comes this kid. And they knew he was going to be on TV and they knew he was going to, catch the players' attention and same. And he would dress up like that if we went to one of the local TriStar shows or the GTSM shows, autograph shows here. He would dress up, same way. And saw him coming and they'd stop and, give him a high five or we try to take a picture real quick. And, but yeah, it's memories that are priceless. Really.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome. Talking about memories, 2017, you guys winning the entire thing. Tell us about, what the experience was with you as a fan, growing up in Houston, growing up a Houston Astros fan. What was the experience like as the year got serious, as their success was evident and it was very clear. And then as they started moving up the ladder, when the playoffs came, and then eventually when they made it to the World Series, tell us what that was like for you up until the World Series. And then we'll talk about afterwards.
Yeah. Amazing, dude. When I've always watched them growing up, didn't get to attend much, growing up, we weren't fortunate enough to be able to attend games, but I did watch them on TV a lot, even when they were losing. Again, when we started going, it was probably 2015, 2016. We started going, actually 2016 is when we became season ticket holders. So we got to see them right as they developed into a playoff team, a championship team. It was being there and witnessing, the history that was made. It's again, I'm speechless on some of that because it's something that I was able to experience with my son and my wife, and again, memories. People watching it from home, it's just different when you're there. It's different when you're able to, see the team grow and see the team come together and have the core players that you have, and knowing that they're wanting to win just as bad as anybody, and from having seasons of 100, or more losses to having seasons of 100 plus wins, it's a 180, and the city embraced that, and bringing the city their first championship was, I really think, everybody was just Astros. It was all about the Astros, and it was the hottest ticket in town, and lucky enough to be able to get an SRO to go to the game just to say you were there.
Yeah.
Well, when they won the 2017 World Series in LA, I believe they had about 30,000 people at Minute Maid and watching it on the Jumbotron.
Wow.
That they didn't want to watch it at home. They wanted to come be in the stadium. They opened it up, and it was free to get in. They just let people watch it there, and I mean, the celebration carried on to the streets, man. I mean, it was amazing, dude. It really was. For being a baseball fan, just in general, like I said, I've always watched baseball and always rooted for somebody to win. It was never the Houston Astros, but it was always somebody else. I mean, I rooted for Tampa Bay when they were winning. I rooted for Barry Bonds. You know what I mean? When the
Right.
Giants, at the end of the season, I'm rooting for one of the teams. But
Sure.
this time it was the Astros in it, and it was like I said, a feeling that people still sit there and argue with you, that we are champions. Like you said, the asterisk, the tainted title, all that. It's a tough pill to swallow, but we're gonna say we're champions, to the end. You say what you want, you're not gonna take it away from the town, man, at all.
Yeah, I mean, we talked, Roberto and I were talking a little bit about this before. I mean, we have Tom Brady here now in Tampa, and he won us a Super Bowl, and but anytime Tom Brady comes up in conversation, anybody that's not a Patriots fan or now a Bucks fan, because I'm sure we were on that same bandwagon before he came here. Oh, he's deflating footballs, and he's Belichick's out there with the cameras, and but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, how many teams won World Series where their players were juiced up? It's just part of the game. I mean, I don't care what you're doing. It's like, how hard it is to even get to that level. It's just amazing. So it's another thing we were talking about is I live in Florida. I'm a Florida State alumni, so I have to deal with Gator fans and Seminole fans within my state. And I got to hear about Jameis taking crab legs from Publix every day. That that was a one-time thing. The guy's a college kid. He got some free stuff from Publix, and now every comment online about Jameis, oh, crab legs, Jameis, the free shoes university. It all goes back and forth. We say the same thing about the Gators and about the about the Hurricanes, and you can always find something about a team to give people crap about. But anytime anybody wins, there's always going to be a target on your back.
Yeah, Jack. I mean, you didn't like Brady until he put on that Bucks uniform, and you were there getting your championship T-shirt, and
Yep.
Probably looking forward to Edelman coming next season.
Exactly.
He is. Yeah, but I think we're all old enough to remember the Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa home run race, and that always said that they were all on roids, and whatnot. But you know what? We didn't care. We were watching it, man. I mean, you stopped what you were doing to make sure you didn't miss that game, or that if ESPN cut to the show, you were there, man. I mean, it was awesome for baseball. I mean, even Barry Bonds. I mean, it's just. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I see it like you say. It's a Major League Baseball is on another level. I mean, yeah, there's some players that do what they do to kind of get over. Now they're cracking down on it, I think, more than they did in the past. But I mean, as a baseball fan, I mean, you're not gonna, Roberto, we're gonna argue back and forth about Bonds, and you're gonna stand by your man. You know what I mean? Because that's your guy.
I'll probably agree with you on that one. I'm not the biggest Bonds fan.
Okay, and you're a Giants fan.
But I'm a Giants fan, yeah. So I followed him, and I made sure that I clapped for him and stuff like that. But it was mainly off the field stuff. But at the time, I was also coaching baseball, and a lot of the kids, the JV teams, they followed him. But I would know the off the field stuff, that he was kind of an asshole, that he was not a good guy, and stuff like that. So that's the kind of stuff that was putting me off a little bit, but only because the kids that I was coaching looked up to him as a role model. And here I am, not only trying to be a coach, but trying to let them know, like, hey, there's better role models than that. So I think that's the beef that I have against Mr. Barry Lamar Bonds.
I mean, it's it's not just baseball. I mean, look at Lance Armstrong, that whole mess. I mean, and the sad thing about most of this is, like, Lance Armstrong, like, he probably didn't even have to take any of that shit, he probably still would have won all those races or most of them. And it's like, it's just something like that just taints it a little bit. It just gives people a reason to give you a hard time. But at the end of the day, like you said, you can't take that championship away. It's like we talked to Kenny a couple weeks ago about the Dodgers. It's like, oh, there's the asterisk. They've only played 60 games. Is that really a World Series championship? Yes, it is. They won in a pandemic. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, and they're going to argue that it's a championship and you can't take it away from them. And I'm sure each of us would have did the same if our team would have won. You're going to still.
I would have.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're just going to sit there and say we won. Bottom line, whether it was a 60-game season or a 100-game season. With the Astros and their scandal, I mean, Astro fans are going to argue with you till you're blue in the face, and you might end up getting heated. But I mean, we all have championship gear, and we're not parting with it, man. You get the, whether it's a replica trophy or the hats, the on-field stuff. I mean, the memorabilia has gone up. I mean, the game used memorabilia over here, whether it's just a regular game or World Series, I mean, those are grails in their own senses, but yeah, everybody has a piece of history. The same thing. My wife and son were able to go to the parade and brought home some confetti like most people do. Like, hey,
nice
parade. But yeah, I mean, you had probably most of the city down there for the parade. I mean, it was just very hectic. But I mean, to be the first one, and of course none of the scandal had came out before that. I mean, it was
right.
just and even after the scandal, people were still like, F you and F your team, and we won, But yeah, it's funny, and I mean, seeing them in Yankee Stadium last week was pretty wild. I mean, I kind of know they have it coming, but at the same time, you really look at that and say, was it, is it worth it? I mean, you're booing some of the guys that weren't even on the team in 2017. Were y'all really going to win it? I don't know. Had you got by the Astros, were you going to win it? I mean, how many championships does New York have already that you're worried about one? But I guess they had the right. They had the right to boo and do whatever they did. I mean, I can't take that away for them. I've been around obnoxious people, and yeah, 6th, 7th inning after they've had a few beers in them, it gets worse. Security will tell them to pipe it down, but you pay your ticket, you pay your way in, and you want to root for the opposing team, or you want to heckle the opposing team, as long as it's in good fun. But you start getting obscenities and there's kids around, and you start things that are not appropriate. I mean, that's when it's like, I might even have to look at the security guard and point at the guy and say, y'all, at least tell them to watch it, because it's not just my kid, but I mean, there's numerous kids there, and some of that they're not used to hearing, all the F-bombs being thrown out there. But yeah, it's fun, dude. It's fun. The Dodgers will be here, I guess 25th, 26th, so that's going to be wild. And they, from what I've heard, they've got a good group of people coming to Houston for that game. So
it's the group, the Pantone group, the Pantone 294 group. Yeah. And that's Jack, I don't know if you're familiar with that group, but it's a big group of fans, and they travel together. It's a group of traveling fans. So they have a person that reaches out to a team and they buy out a whole section. Right. Okay. They all travel out there, just like group sales, except they travel in the hundreds, because they need hundreds of people to hold a big ass flag that covers up an entire section. Yeah. So that is the team. That is the group of fans that went to AT&T Park like 3-4 years ago. They went to Yankee Stadium a couple of years ago, and they're going to go to Houston. I didn't know it was going to be on this trip, but they're going to go to Houston. So that should be a little interesting, and it's going to bring up some memories. Now, you just touched on the 2017 World Series that we were talking about. Let me tell you a very, very fast story. So, Game 5. I'm visiting my mom, and I'm driving back. It's a 4-hour drive to my home. Everyone's sleeping in the car. My wife, my kids, they're knocked out. Well, I put the radio on because I knew the game was going to be happening. I knew I wasn't going to watch. I knew I was going to be listening to it. I am doing 85, 90 miles an hour trying to get home because just by listening to it and all the back and forth, I'm like, holy shit, this, I have to watch this game. Anyways, by the time that I got home, it was the beginning of the 10th inning. So I, at least I got to the house and I got to see the end of probably in my mind, the best baseball game. I think that that's one of the best baseball games that's ever been played just because of the whole back and forth thing. But what was pretty funny about that is that I got to watch the last inning and I see my wife and kids coming in with all the luggage back and forth. I didn't do anything. I just watched baseball. I wanted to watch the game.
Oh, we were there. We were there. We were able to witness that.
Oh,
And
man.
dude, honestly, dude, I don't think we sat down the whole game. It was a roller coaster, back and forth. I think the game was over around 12:30 in the morning, our time, 12:40. I mean, you didn't want to leave the stadium. I mean, they literally had to ask everybody, it's over, you got to go. But I mean, it was so much excitement. It was, man, it was like you said. I would agree. One of the best games I have attended, and I had seen. I was able to witness. Came home, got a couple hours of sleep, went to work. My wife called in sick. My son didn't go to school. It was just amazing. It was amazing to say that I was there and got to witness it. I still watch it, and I've watched it, a couple of times, and it's almost like what the ending is going to be, but kind of like your favorite movie, you just watch it over and over. But yeah, that was an awesome game, and we got to see ourselves on TV, which we do regularly from our seats, so yeah, it was nice. It was really nice, and nice to be able to say that you were there, because even though it was about 45,000 people there, not everybody from Houston fit in the Minute Maid Park, but it was an awesome game. Really was.
Did you lose your voice?
Yeah, I think at the end, I mean, everybody was just screaming and hollering, and whether we were down or we were up. I mean, you were just, like I said, it was one game that, like I said, I don't think we needed seats that day, man. It was an exciting game. Like I said, blessed to be able to be there and witness that, and it was fun. It was again back to a nice family outing and great memories to be able to sit there and say that we were there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then to follow up on that, obviously at that point, Houston goes 3-2. Game 6, they lose in LA. Game 7 takes place. Charlie Morton, hero. That's something that both of you guys have in common. Charlie Morton, doing big things for the Rays as well. Take me through Game 7. What's going on in the Mendez household on that day and after the game?
I mean, glued to the tube, man. I mean, it ended late. My kids stayed up, and yeah, I mean, we wanted to see them win just as much as every Houstonian, here in Houston and maybe Texas. Just to be able to say it's the first one, kind of backtracking on the scandal. They said that a lot of things happened here at Minute Maid Park, but for them to win on the road, I mean, it was kind of like it happened. It happened. From McCullers to starting the game to Charlie Morton finishing it. Man, we were all Uncle Charlie fans, man. I mean, it's just we were happy for a lot of the players, that won and hadn't won. It was their first as well, and it was just exciting. It really was. I was like most people, got on Fanatics and started ordering stuff, and I probably spent more than I should have, but again, I think that's most fans. When you win your first one, I need those house slippers, and I need the light stick, I need the doormat. I didn't even have a dog. I need a dog bowl that says. Heck, you realize that when you're totaling cashing out, you're like, I had so much stuff in my cart, it was like ridiculous. But I was like, man, just you just had to, you wanted everything, you really did. I mean, and like I said, even now, I mean, it's to look back and see, what we have and what the team accomplished. I don't know. I mean, everybody's gonna have their opinions, but like we said, whether it was Tom Brady or Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa. I mean, the Astros did what they did. Whether they received the proper punishment or not, I mean, that's, I guess, for every individual to assess in their own way. But like I said, the Astros have been good to the city, man, and giving back charity wise, and think our local Texans and Rockets haven't done so well. So people want to go see a winner, and good to go to Minute Maid Park and have a few beers and watch a game. Win or lose, maybe you meet a new friend and hang out with some old friends, and just enjoy the game. But yeah, I mean yeah, I mean, like I said, I'll argue with everybody as well, just to say, hey man, the Astros won, and we're champions, whether you like it or don't like it.
No one can ever take that away from you. And the way I see it is, with sports, there's always going to be an argument. It doesn't matter what happened, even if there was no controversy, people are still gonna,
Season, I think everybody wants their team to win. Everybody wants
right.
in the championship game, whether it's basketball, football, or baseball. So if your team's in there, I mean, you're rooting for them. You like I said, your Bucks won it all. And I mean, I was rooting for them. From Houston, I was like, man, Brady's got this. It's amazing what he did. In one year, man. I mean, that's if you wasn't a Bucks fan, you became a Bucks fan and living in Tampa, because you want to be able to say you're a part of all that.
Right.
It's history. I mean, it really is. And the fact that he's coming back again, and y'all are going to probably expect nothing but another Super Bowl from him.
I mean, at his age too, I mean, I think that's the amazing thing. It's like, most of the quarterbacks that are his age, like look at Drew Brees. I mean, Drew Brees, awesome quarterback, but like, he couldn't stay healthy and at the end of his career. It's just, the way that the longevity that Brady's had, and he's still playing at a high level. It's amazing.
All right, so we're going to touch on one more subject, and that is going to be customized bobbleheads. Okay. And the reason why I wanted to talk to you about custom bobbleheads is because I know Houston is a pretty big city, and a group of collectors that also pride themselves in the customs that they have, as well as all the customs that the customizers do down there. Right? We've had this conversation before. I know that I've done two for you. The first one is that George Springer bobblehead of the month, which we'll touch on that a little bit. And the one that I did depicts the home run that he hit in Game 7 of the World Series. The other one that I have is that voice chip that you want in a RAS of Charlie Morton throwing the last pitch.
Correct.
So the reason why I like bobblehead is because they depict these moments that we remember. They depict moments from games that we were at, that we attended, or that we were told about by our parents or by the television historian, the baseball historian, about what happened. So I think that's why bobbleheads are so dope. So having brought up the two that I've done for you that depict obviously that championship year that the Astros had, and other customs that you've collected and that I've done for you for other players. What is it about customs for you, who is on the other side of the fence? I paint them. You're the one that displays them as a collector.
Well, being able to have a one of one is amazing. Your work is amazing. The attention to detail you did on the Springer is by far I think the best out there. It's awesome to be able to have a one of one. There are some local guys that have done some customs, and in some cases they're not one of one, so they'll kind of do more than one. So I mean, they're still cool to have. They are. I guess it just depends if you like what they did. I think with me and you, I think we collaborated to get what I wanted out of the Springer bobble, and I think that was maybe a little different. We together we created your masterpiece, and blessed to have it in my collection. But yeah, I think that the customs are just being able to say I have this and you don't, basically. But I think everybody. The handful of guys we got down here doing amazing work as well. I just think they sometimes they'll do more than one. So there might be 4 or 5 of a particular custom out there, and it's still a grail in the sense that there's not 100 or 200 of them out there. If you're lucky to get one, you're lucky to get one, and like I said, nice work. Not going to say it's not. It's amazing. Being able to have the talent to paint a bobble and change the uniform color, and we have a lot of Orbit mascot bobbles that they started personalizing with the Father's Day jersey, the Mother's Day jersey, retro jerseys that are not offered by FOCO or anybody. They're bobbles that we purchased from FOCO. But yeah, they customize them with different jerseys on them, put pink bats on them and blue bats on them to represent Mother's Day and Father's Day. And military, there's some that a couple of guys did some with the military uniform, and they're really nice. They're really nice, and like I said, if you're lucky to have one, I mean, if not, if you really want one, then you're out there trying to trade for it or buy it outright. Some cases, some of these customs, somebody would close the RAS. The first person would close it because they wanted it. So, but yeah, I mean, I think everybody has their own custom touch, but like I said, we got a handful of guys down here that do them and pretty successful on all their rises. Like I said, they fill them, and I guess they're making little side hustles, as I guess that's what I call it. Little side hustle. But yeah, the customs are nice to have. I mean, what I've gotten from you, and I have a couple other ones. I have the Charlie Brown you did for me. That was one that has my name on it and season ticket holder patches on it, and it's just to me an awesome piece. You did the Spider-Man, the Reddick Spider-Man for me.
Oh yeah.
The Bruce Lee with the Astros logo on it was awesome, and I also have the Hulkbuster that you did for me. So
I think I did a Reddick too. I think I did the Reddick with him in the wrestling ring.
Yeah, you did that. Yeah, that's right. It was originally a Mets bobble. I forgot which player. But yeah,
shit, I forget. Well.
Yeah.
No, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got a few from you, Roberto, and like I said, blessed to have those, man. Those are one of ones down here. Those won't be Raz.
Not going anywhere. Now, although it may seem, I really think it may seem like I brought this up so we can go out and say that I do nice work. I promise that wasn't the case. Like seriously, I've done a lot of work for him, and it's gotten to the point where I have, I think I have 9 of the Astros bobbleheads here. And he's like, yeah, just do whatever. Now he's giving me that space to just come up with something. And I know that he's going to like it. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up, though, is because for a couple of weeks, I've been telling Jack, and in a couple of occasions, I've told him about the Springer one that I did. Mm-hmm. And we've kind of touched on it a little bit in the show. But before we talk about how much it goes for now on a RAS, I remember being a little hesitant in painting it just in case you changed your mind, because I know that it was going for pretty high in the RASs at the time. But I was wondering, like, man, he's really going to have me do it. But finally, when I did it, and then you say the one of one and stuff like that, it's actually pretty cool that I got to do it. But what is the actual number for one of these to be rasped nowadays if someone was to throw an original one up there? Because it was the very first bobblehead of the month that was released. So I know that plays a big part.
I think the highest it got was $1,000. Yeah, I think when I asked you to customize the one I had, it's because I had 2, and I know what you say about maybe leaving it original holds its value, and you're possibly, I mean, you're right. You do this, more than I do, but yeah, I think I was just blessed to have 2 of them, because at that time my wife was able to go, and I told her just buy 2, and again, instead of looking at the hustle part and saying, let me make some money off it, I was like, no, I'm going to keep it and I'll do something with it later. And I was so glad that I did, and was able to, collab with you and come up with the creation that we did and make it what it is. Like I said, again, I guess I'm blessed to have a job and pays decent. And, I'm not really into any of this for the hustle. So, when I bought it, I kept it, and people were willing, inboxing me, willing to buy it and wanting to buy it. And I just wasn't parting with it. And like I said, so glad that I kept it, and it's basically my centerpiece here in my man cave. Having the original and your custom side by side is something that a lot of people, like I said, don't even have one, and I have two of them. But yeah, I mean, it's still worth a lot of money, man. It really is. You can get you a small car probably for one if you find the right person.
Nah,
So,
that's crazy shit.
Roberto, I mean,
Yeah.
for the audience, tell them what you did to this bobble because I'm curious.
All right. So the original, the bobblehead of the month is George Springer swinging. It's the after swing of a home run that he hit in spring training. And it's him in the rainbow uniform, right? When he was a rookie. And this was 2014, I would think 2014, 2015, when this Sports Illustrated was released. Well, he had a second Sports Illustrated after Game 7 of the World Series. Exact same swing, obviously, except now it's in the Game 7 uniform, the orange jersey uniform. So when Manuel hit me up and he said, "Hey, this is what I'm trying to do," and I said, "Okay." I'm pretty sure at some point he said, "Can you do it?" And I said, "Yeah, I can go ahead and do it." And because of everything that surrounded this bobblehead, from the price to how there was only about 150 to 170 of them, and it's retail, and it really, anyone that has one is not going to get rid of theirs. I knew that if I was going to put paint into this, that I had to make it as detailed as possible. So I looked at every logo that he had on his uniform, every possible thing that I could add, and I added. I even looked at his shoes. I looked at his shoes and I took an up close photo, and I found other photos of where he was wearing the same shoes. And I tried my very best to give this this bobblehead that uh, to Manuel, it wasn't a big deal for me to paint, but for me, I wanted to make sure that if I was going to do this to something this valuable, that I was going to make an attempt at making it just as valuable, but maybe in a different way. So I don't think I've ever spent more time or more detail, more attention to detail for sure, to any custom bobblehead that I've done as I have to this one. And I think that the fact that it's a taller one, because it's a focal one, it's about 9 inches, just like the Mountie. Um, so I spend a little more time on it. So I like it. And when we do the YouTube video on this, it's going to have the cover photo on it so that people can go ahead and see why we talk about this bobblehead so much. And thank you for the kind words, by the way, man. It's not every day that someone over here, just a small guy in this hobby, gets to hear that something they did is the center of their collection. So I appreciate it very much.
Oh, you're welcome. Like I said, it's nice. Back to again, it's history for Houston. I mean, I've honestly never even considered razzing it or selling it. Like I said, again, I keep a lot of the stuff, even stuff that I win in razzes. Most of the time, I keep it. But yeah, those are baubles that are going to stick with me forever. What my son does them after I'm gone, I mean, I'm afraid to even know what he might do with them. I see a garage sale probably in the future. Because yeah, I mean it is, but and I love it, dude, and like I said, so happy to have it, and yeah, I'll send you another picture, Roberto, that'll probably have a side by side comparison of them, and yeah, Jack, they I have the magazine cover behind each bobble, and
Awesome.
They're both autographed by George Springer, with
Nice.
the rainbow, and then with the orange top and the gray road pants. So, but yeah, I mean it's really nice. I mean they're like I said, they're my centerpiece in my man cave, because it's just the fact that, like I said, for me it's they're one of ones, that nobody else has, and whether somebody says I devalued it by customizing it or not, that's their opinion. To me, it's priceless, and like I said, I won't sell it because, again, like I said, there's a story behind it, and I'm not going to part with it.
Well, I mean, to me too, it's like almost it's well, a lot of these customs, I mean, you look at them as art, right? I mean, you
Oh, yeah.
consider yourself an artist, right, Roberto? I mean, to some degree. I mean,
Yeah, Jose Mata told me that. He said, as I asked him a couple of questions when I was first starting out, he told me it's art. So you can't say that this is good work or this is bad work or this method is good and this method is not good. Everyone is an artist, so be an artist and create art. So from that standpoint, hey, I agree with him, and that's how I look at all the customizers and the custom hobby, which is the hobby within the hobby, as I call it. And a fun fact about this bobblehead that we're talking about: when Manuel sent it to me, he sent it to me with no box because it's a big ass bobblehead. So the original box would have been big and it would have cost more to ship. So he sent it to me with no box. So for the longest time, I had it in there sitting in the box without the styrofoam or anything like that. And as you can imagine, after I finished it, I read the hell out of this bobblehead, making sure that it was going to arrive in one piece so that it can fit in its original box when it got there. And yeah, it was good.
But I mean, too, the fact that you customed it into that specific, the moment in the game and the history. It wasn't like you made this into a bobblehead that had someone else's name on the back of them, or you changed it to a different player. I mean, it really fit to kind of the whole situation. I mean, to me, that makes it more valuable. I mean, in my opinion, you know what I mean?
It's almost like looking at a black and white photo in a kid's coloring book, and I got to paint. I got to paint the picture, and I got to take a look at video. I took a look at so many videos of what he was wearing that day and anything like that, photos, and when he wore these shoes in the past, because I wanted to make sure that when I colored it in, that I colored it in specifically and exactly how it was at the game. And that was my goal with that bobblehead, as it is with a lot of the bobbleheads, but because of everything that surrounded this one,
Yeah.
it needed to be done like this, and that's what it is. And one person has approached me about doing another one, but I think that they realize and they say, nah, I'm not going to do that. But so from that standpoint, I'm glad that he so far has a true one of one.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Nice.
again, you know, having to customize another one. I mean, I don't even know what you could do to make it a one of one, because I guess again, I mean, let's you put him in a Toronto Blue Jays uniform now as opposed to an Astros. But I mean, there's a World Series trophy on the bottom of the base, and I mean, I think it'd be hard to kind of come up with something that would be, like I said, a moment of history, and that's what you captured, a moment of history, and like you said, from the shoes to the batting gloves. I mean, it's your attention to detail was amazing, and like I said, that's my grail. That's my grail all day long, dude. I mean, and that's just reality, man. I mean, there's nothing else out there like it. And like you said, the people that have one, they don't know if they want to, customize their one. And then, like I said, customize it to what, he's not even an Astro anymore. I mean, he had, great memories here and many awesome plays and whatnot. But I mean, again, like you said, it's a swing that was on the magazine cover. I'm lucky to have both magazines autographed. I mean, like I said, it's awesome. It's a piece that, like I said, that it's one of those you can look but don't touch. You know what I mean?
I'm going to make a prediction, Jack. I'm
Yeah.
going to say that both the Astros and the Blue Jays make the playoffs. They're both going to battle it out for the AL championship. And George Springer is going to come back, and he's going to probably hit a home run in front of his old fans. What do you think?
I don't
Final
know
score:
about.
Final score: Astros 10, Blue Jays 1.
Jack will be okay with that if they play the Rays in the world, down somewhere down the road there.
Right.
There you go.
I was
All
looking
right,
at their
man. Well, no,
record.
this-
I mean, Toronto's not too bad, I guess. They're not too bad.
They got a good team. They got a good young team.
Yeah, they do.
A lot of young bucks. All right,
Yeah.
Jack, what else do we got, man? What do we got so we can let this man get some rest? This man delivers our mail. He delivers our bobbleheads, and we need to make sure that he has enough hours of rest.
Absolutely. We don't want to keep it too late. Yeah, we got some giveaways coming up. Anything you're interested in seeing?
I like that a lot of the major leagues and minor league teams are releasing a lot of their bobbleheads now. Now people are starting to prepare. They're starting to change their schedules They're starting to do their math. What bobbleheads are going to be good? Which bobbleheads are going to be hard to get? That's what I'll say. Jack, anything, and then let's say goodbye to Manuel, and we close up.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for your time tonight and sharing your stories. And it's very, I always love hearing, how people get involved in the hobby, and especially when you have kids involved. Of course, I have kids, and my son loves baseball too, and so I think we all have, that probably is some of the bond that we have with a lot of the members. Is it's a family affair, and you create a lot of memories. I'm glad Roberto was able to provide that Springer to you. I always he always talked about it, so it was like a legend, and so it was good to hear from the person that actually had the bobble. Because Roberto could just be pumping himself up, but it's good to actually hear from the customer, right?
Yeah.
So no, but I really appreciate your time tonight and sharing all your stories with us and kind of your perspective on the Astros, and so thank you very much.
Appreciate y'all having me on, and enjoyed the conversation, and look forward to maybe doing it again down the road.
Sounds good.
Totally for it. All right, sounds good, man. And thank you again. And Jack, episode 6 is over, and I think it was a good one. So, guys, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for spending the last hour and a half with us. And on to the next one, right?
That's
Have
right.
a good night, guys. Peace out.
Peace.